Time for thinkingrealestate.com. Here on WKHM and around the world on WKHM.com. Mark Meyer, Laura Dwyer Schletke.
Here we are.
They're here.
It's going to be a beautiful few days coming up. I
What's
took the
the
top
phone
off my
number, Laura?
For here, 787-3397.
What's your number?
780-3800.
Okay.
Did I do it right?
Very good.
Okay.
Sounds like
Okay, I
it.
took the top off my Jeep, so it cannot have little spotty showers like you said. Rule. I haven't got the rag top yet, so.
Okay.
So, and how would somebody email us?
Oh, Mark at thinkingrealestate.com.
You are thinking, Mark.
Good morning.
I was doing some reading last night. So really, people, I want you to email us your thoughts on what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
And
What are we talking
going to
about?
talk about today? Hopefully real estate.
Yeah, I want to talk about placemaking. Do you know what that is?
I haven't a clue.
Placemaking.
Placemaking. You know I'm running for city council.
I've heard that.
Rumor has it. Fourth ward, so if you're in the fourth ward, get out and vote. Anyhow, so placemaking has to do with a community. So let me ask you a question. Is a city appealing because it's prosperous, or is it prosperous because it's appealing? That's kind of like, do you love me because I'm beautiful, or am I beautiful because you love me?
Well, it's got to be part of both, right? Huh?
There is a, it's like the chicken and the egg.
Is there a right answer here?
There is a right answer.
There is.
I would say it's prosperous. Wait, what are the questions again?
Is a city appealing because it's prosperous, or is it prosperous
I would say
because
it's prosperous
it's appealing?
because it's appealing.
Yeah, I guess so.
The right answer is creating a vibrant public space is a winning economic strategy. So, you're right. It's prosperous because it's appealing.
Okay.
Okay? And you know what? This article, or this magazine, I got this out of, it's called On Common Ground, and I think it's put out by the National Association of Realtors out of D.C. And you know what they use as an example of placemaking is Campus Martius Park in downtown Detroit.
Okay.
Was a success of placemaking. And what they did is they took a 2.5 acre parcel and made it appealing to people. And they do music there and art, and they do things there that bring people in. And then CompuWare Corporation moved to downtown Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And then a year later, Quicken moved in. And in the next year or so, apparently a New Jersey-based business software maker is moving in, Galaxy Solutions. They're going to bring in 500 plus employees. It's kind of exciting.
It is exciting. And I would say that in Jackson we've got something similar in the Armory Arts complex.
Right. So that's why I wanted to talk about placemaking. And wouldn't it be cool if the listening public, which we know we have more because
13.
Mark is counting.
I was at a wedding Saturday, Greg, and somebody that my mom knows told her that she listens. So,
Well, of course.
Hi, Margie.
Yeah. Call, Margie.
So I think the public needs to tell us. Well, I think first of all we need to figure out what Jackson is. What do we have here? And there was a meeting about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, where JSAG had this guy from Michigan State University, I think he was from, and they did asset analyzing of what we have in this community. It was a really powerful meeting.
No.
And I don't know what ever happened with the outcome of that, but even just taking that base and figuring out what all our assets are.
Well, so what are some of our assets? Give me an example. I just gave you one, Armory Arts.
Well, we have the railroad.
That's true. I agree with that.
Parks.
Parks.
Parks, including golf and all the lakes.
Yeah.
I think we have a nice downtown area
I agree.
that could really expand into something
Are you going to go
more
to
than what it is.
Yes.
Are you going to go to the ribbon cutting tomorrow of the second floor of the County Towers grand reopening?
Oh, I didn't see that.
You didn't listen to Greg this morning?
I had to get a letter
Disappointing.
out. I had to get a letter out on
Laura,
behalf of one of my
disappointing.
clients. I did. Actually, I turned you on my radio on my computer so the staff could listen. The staff is my son.
And the dog.
No, the dogs are in the backyard, but anyhow,
You wouldn't even let the dog listen?
well, they would have gotten too excited.
But
Are you
I
taking calls?
We are
today?
taking calls. I really want to know what we have here in Jackson that we can expand on.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, I enjoy your show. My question isn't relevant to the topic right now. But if you were to buy a home, where would you get the best rates? Mortgage rates?
You need to shop it, but I like our local. I like our local people,
I agree.
County National and OSB,
Consumers Power Credit Union,
right? Any other credit unions?
except American One.
Right. I mean, what's a good rate?
What's a good rate?
I think
Right
rates
around
are
5.
Yeah, I think they're a little
For
lower
30
than
year.
5 right now. Someone at closing last week had a 3.5. I
Well,
don't
how do
know
you do
how they
that?
got that. Well,
Big
he
down
had
payment?
he did. He had about 50% down.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to
Oh.
email one of our trusty lenders right now and see if I can find out, and I'll let you know.
One of our listeners.
Thank you.
That was a good question.
Yes.
That's a hard one
I know
to stand
commercials
up on.
are right around 6 right now.
Yeah, I mean, my client had 3.5%, and I had just about fainted. And it was, I think, a 15-year loan, 10 or 15. So back to placemaking. Do you know the national, or no, is it national? Let me look it up. National or Michigan? National Association of Realtors is funding a placemaking study, and they're actually looking for 3 cities to study and see if once placemaking starts, and I think Jackson would be a
Are you going
great
to talk to
opportunity.
them about that?
Well, Gil White out of Lansing, who I know, is one of the people responsible on the advisory committee to pick those cities.
Are you taking calls?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, if you're going to do a list, you're going to have to do a positive, negative list because you can say your parks are great, but are you looking at just our golf courses?
No.
Or our little parks?
All parks.
Our little parks are absolutely horrendous.
What?
They need to be fixed up.
Give me an example.
Loomis Park.
Loomis Park.
Loomis Park was beautiful when they built it. You go in there now and it's trash. People do not take care of it.
Uh huh. Okay.
Yeah, it is a beautiful area too, Loomis Park
You
is.
know,
Yep.
and it's one example. Eastsider, you know, so there's a perfect example.
And what a great
You know,
location.
You know, we have all these lakes, but we do not use anything in our advantage. We have all the chain of lakes are all, of course, a chain, they're all connected. Let's have a bass fishing contest. Let's try to get the Bass Masters in here. Have a pro circuit in here. You know, there's a big article about in the paper about Victory Lane. You know, there for a while that was great. All the indie stuff that was coming out. Now nothing's done with that.
Mhm.
We have to take the positives and the negatives and try to blend them in.
I agree.
That's absolutely what we need to do.
Good point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, this article says cities need appealing places, parks, plazas, main streets, markets where people can interact. Provide them and the jobs will come because the employers will want to be here. They want places that will attract employees.
Tough. That's a tough referendum.
Well, but you got to start. And they say that what Detroit did with Campus Marches was a really big. They took a big leap of faith, and it worked out. There are other communities that are doing it little bit by little bit, which is probably more how it's done. It says it's going to attract development. I mean, wouldn't you agree? If you've got a good, what do I want to say, personal, if you have a quality of life, good quality of life in your community, the businesses will want to be here.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, I think love 'em or hate 'em, Allegiance Hospital is doing a really great job of campus building on their part of town.
Sure.
Which is going to bring in more and more doctors. Their heart center that they opened a few years ago is a huge boost, I think, for
Yep.
our community. It's really great that the person who actually runs that actually lives here and is involved in the community.
Yeah.
Georgia.
Oh, right.
You
I
know.
didn't know if you were talking about the heart
Well,
people up specifically.
Sure, and they do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know that for Allegiance, it's real important that their people live within the community, and sometimes it's hard to convince them to do that. So I think as a community, I don't think it's the Allegiance's responsibility, the only responsibility to get attraction here. I think it's all of our
Well,
responsibility.
I thought it was a real shame, and I'm not trying to pick on Consumers Energy, but I thought it was a real shame, you know, this was back 20 years ago, that they opened up their corporate headquarters in Dearborn because the executives didn't want to live in Jackson.
Right. So what can we do? I mean, this article talks about smart growth, making walkability, doing mixed use, making access for transit, which would bring in our rail. I mean, how different would Jackson be if the high-speed rail was here?
I don't know.
Would they stop
That's
here?
that's a
Well, they're really
well,
fighting for that,
well, sure.
To have a stop here?
right? And
Or
then
is it
they're
going to zip
planning
on
on.
by?
No, wouldn't that be sad?
It would be. We can wave.
But it can't stop everywhere. It's high speed, can it? I mean, everybody wants it to stop.
Well, but Jackson's got enough population, and how many people live in Jackson and work in Ann Arbor or Detroit?
Quite a lot.
Right. You think so?
Yeah,
Okay.
because the cost of living is so less here.
I tried to get a ticket to go to Chicago a couple weeks ago, and they were sold out. Amtrak was sold out.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So I stayed home.
Shocking.
Unusual, isn't it, Laura?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You save money.
I did.
Well, he must be one of the richest guys
Yeah,
on the planet,
exactly.
let me tell you. Well, as a result of what the city of Detroit did with Campus Martius, they've got more restaurants and small retail shops
Sure.
going in around the corner because those businesses are demanding that. So
Well, that's a nice area.
well, and people are moving downtown. In fact,
And then
the
you got the two
father,
stadiums.
the father
right
of
next
one
to
of
each
my
However,
closings. Yeah, well, the
Some
father
days.
of one of my I had a closing yesterday or the day before, whatever day, and the dad came in. He's an attorney in Novi, I think, but he lives in downtown Detroit because he wanted to be an urbanite person. He said it's amazing down there.
but the neighborhoods are atrocious.
Getting there,
The city neighborhoods in Detroit.
right? Well,
You could live downtown. They have some new
but
complexes.
you know, it's kind of like Chicago started having to expand because their downtown. I mean, the cost of living was too high, and then they had to start expanding. They started taking over the subdivisions, neighborhoods, and improving them. So we can do that here in Jackson. I have a vision.
With that, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
787-3397 if you want to chip in here. Love to hear from you. Casey Anthony, by the way, back to jail.